Good morning. So my message today is a little bit late because it's about the Epiphany, which I believe is January 6th. So whenever this airs, I'm recording it after January 6th, and you'll see it after I'm recording it, of course. So what's the Epiphany? Well, that's the date that the wise men arrived. Well, the Bible doesn't say that they were wise. It just says that they were magi. It doesn't say they were kings, but I would say they were wise. The Bible doesn't say that the Samaritan was good, but I would say the Samaritan was good. We've added those adjectives. So the Epiphany, the wise men arrive like 12, 13 days after the birth of Jesus, which of course, according to scripture, is nowhere near the truth. It was probably closer to 2 years later, but that's hard to do on a calendar. How do you put it 2 years later? We'd like to have things on a calendar. And the reason we know that is because Herod had all the children that were 2 years of age and under killed according to the time of the appearing of the star. So that's why we believe that. But the wise men arrived. They made decisions that were good. Now, I want to share something from, and I know we're past Christmas, but it's the Epiphany. And I'm going to take a look at dictionary.com to see what an epiphany is. But it says, Mary, verse 7, Luke chapter 2, gave birth to her first child, a son. She wrapped him snugly in strips of cloth and laid him in a manger. Why? Because there was no lodging available for them. No lodging available for them. You know, a lot of times we get this picture that they went up to this one place, knocked on the door, and the innkeeper said no. But what it indicates here is that they might have gone to several places. And, you know, if I were the innkeeper of any of those places, I would be really glad that that's all that it said in the story. Would you want it to say your name? You know, I've mentioned things like names like Jezebel and Herod. We don't use those names a lot because they played the bad guys. So if the innkeeper's name was Fritz, then I don't think Fritz would be a real popular name. I think he's probably glad that they left the name out of that. So these guys made it though. The wise men, they made decisions and they found their way in. And I don't think they had regrets. How are you doing for regrets during the whole pandemic, just with your life in general? See, I think the innkeeper had regrets. I really do. I think that if he looked back, he would probably think, yeah, I probably should have made a little more room for Jesus. I mean, if he understood who he was. But before I go to that, how about you? Are you making enough room for Jesus? During the last year or so, during the beginning of this year, are you making more room or less room? Because I really believe God's been trying to get our attention. I really, truly believe that on a spiritual level, that's God's desire for America, is that we would really remember Him and that we would look up and we would take notice of Him. Do you have regret? You can change that today. You can change that today and just say, you know what, I'm going to make more room. I love the definition of epiphany, and so my prayer is that some of us will have an epiphany today. So here's the definition according to dictionary.com, or at least this is the one that I really liked. It's number 3. A sudden, intuitive perception or insight into the reality or essential meaning of something, usually initiated by some simple, homely, or commonplace occurrence or experience. You don't see it coming. It just happens. So maybe the epiphany for some of us in the midst of the pandemic would be this. If we realized that we're like the innkeeper a lot of times and that we don't make the room that we would. Do you know, as far as regrets, I think if he had to do it all over again, I think he would have slept in the barn. That's what you would do, wouldn't it? I mean, if you knew that it was Jesus at your door, about to be born, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, wouldn't you say, you can have the master bedroom, I'll sleep in the backyard, I'll sleep on the deck, I'll sleep wherever. But he didn't have that perception. He needed an epiphany. May we have one today. God bless you. Have a great day.